Canada. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey, man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.
I've been in the lab. Oh, I like that one. That one might stick a little longer. I like
that one too, Tone. I do like that one. That one is dope. Yes.
There's so many things. I guarantee you, if you watch it again and just look at a different part of the screen, you didn't notice what was happening. I was so intricate. So I don't know. Did you notice the countdown in the top right corner?
I didn't even notice that. How about that?
I won't play it for you again because people, unless someone in the chat says play it again. There's a countdown in the top right corner. You obviously see Shaq, Tim Hardaway, Trista, yourself, myself doing our little bits.
Yeah.
Obviously, you see a little basketball thing in the middle. You see the colors and the levels. Stop shaking your head. We'll get to how terrible the Knicks are in a minute.
I'm sorry I'm shaking my head, but Tone, I'm watching Jason Tatum got Mikal Bridges' ass.
I'm literally watching it just right here. When you see my eyes do this, it's because I watch the game. Listen, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Basketball is in full effect. NFL is in full effect. Like, this is the best time of year.
Anyway, as you were saying, Tone, okay.
Did you notice in the bottom? Did you notice in the middle left? There is a little, there's actually 8 TVs, and there's a dude playing baseball, playing basketball, playing all these different sports.
I did notice that one. Yes, I did.
Okay,
I did notice that. A lot of extracurricular stuff going on.
There's a lot of stuff. That's why I said I like it because there's a lot of stuff going on. Let's not even wait. Because I don't even remember the topic for today. Oh yes. The main topic we're gonna discuss who's the best basketball player right now. I guarantee you it's not Bridges. We're gonna talk about who's the best player in the NBA today, not what they did last year, not what they're doing tomorrow. Right now, who's the best player? We're gonna talk about basketball ineligibility, Hall of Fame ineligibility. I got a list. And then kind of piggybacking our who's the best in basketball. The guys from TNT did their top 50 rankings, and I have 2, 3, 4, 5 names that were highlighted that I want to see where they each ranked them, and then what our thoughts are on those 5. So let's start off right now. Knicks and Celtics. Yes. Hello.
Number 1 for that, Luka Doncic.
Okay, you're jumping the gun there. Fluent Jr. says Luka's number 1 in the NBA right now. His vote is in. It's Luka.
The best player in the league. It's not who's playing. He thinks Luka's the best player in the league.
Best player in the league.
Interesting.
That's the best player in the league. We will get to that. We will definitely get to that.
Yes, we will.
So kickoff, obviously, game 1 of this NBA season, we have our defending, who I think are going to be repeat NBA champions, the Boston Celtics. Who, now, do you put any weight into preseason? Let me start there for a second.
A little bit, Tone. I don't watch a lot of preseason stuff. I'll stick my nose in. And I'll stick my head in to see maybe a rookie that I might be interested in. Like, for example, your boys with the Lakers. I caught some summer league with Dalton Connect, and I did catch some action of him in a little bit in the preseason because I wanted to see what he looked like in some live action. Preseason is mostly, second unit guys. You'll get some first unit guys out there, sure, but you won't get them out there a lot. And I don't take a lot of stock in the preseason. It's like the summer league because a lot of those guys are second and third unit guys, but I'll stick my head in and watch some. I won't watch a lot. No.
Although let me say this, I listen, as a Laker fan, I'm ecstatic for Dalton Connect. But let me say, or as we in LA will say, West Side Connect, which I Like when you're
I
built
love
in,
that.
when
I
you're
love
built
that.
in with the nickname, like you're good. But man, Oliveris, 41. Have you seen him at all?
No.
Oh man, undrafted rookie. And I mean, just like, look, he's going to be the
I got
11th man,
I'm sorry.
but he's going to come in with energy. He was the thing I liked best about him. They played the Warriors, as you know, they lost by, I don't know, 97. And him and Steph Curry had a little chat after the game.
Oh, okay. Okay. The kid that plays for the Warriors.
No, he plays for the Lakers.
Kid that plays for the Lakers. Steph Curry is his hero. I got you. I'm with you. Okay. Okay.
So
I
so he's having Oliveri. Yeah, he has this conversation with Steph. Steph's like, "Yeah, I really like your game," and he's like, "Wow, like that's been my idol. That's my favorite player since like the sixth grade," and got emotional. I was like, that's what I love about basketball. Those are the stories they need to talk more about.
Yes.
And so that's another guy I'm looking forward to. But the question about how much stock you put into the preseason is the Celtics right now are destroying the Knicks. 69-49. However, it's not even half yet. And this is why I asked the question. In the preseason, the Celtics were up by about, 97 on the Raptors. Raptors came back and lost by like 2. They play again a couple nights later. Raptors win by 1. So is that a sign of a team that will take early leads and then blow them? Or is it, it was the preseason, they were up big, they put in their second, third string, fourth string, and just kind of let the game kind of get away?
Well, we could say the same thing about the Raptors, Tone, because the Raptors were up 22 on the Celtics. And the Celtics ended up coming back with their second and third unit guys, and they ended up in a dogfight, So that's why I don't really put a lot of stock in. That's why I asked. Okay. That's why I don't really put a lot of stock, because a lot of those guys that you see in the preseason, when you see second half games, third quarter, fourth, a lot of those guys, those are contract guys, whether they're just trying to get they're either playing for a contract or they're playing for minutes. You already have Drew Holiday, you already have Derek White, you already have Jason Tatum. You already have these guys in the fold, right? Xavier Tillman, right? These guys are already in the fold. The question is guys like Kata, right? Guys like Cornette, who I think Kata is going to push Cornette at some point throughout the season. He's going to push him for some of those minutes. It might not look like it right now, but I think at some point he's going to push Cornette for some of those minutes. And when a team as good as the Celtics, for example, the way that they're shooting tonight, you live by the 3, you die by the 3. But they're so good defensively. They're so good on the glass. They're so good at what they do that it's almost impossible to slow them down. And on top of that, Tone, they're so good at making you play the way that they play. If you look at what the Knicks are doing, the Knicks are trying to play like them. I mean, this game, these two teams, between the both of them, they're on pace to shoot 83s. New York, you can't get into a shootout with the Celtics. You don't have that kind of unit to get into a shootout with them.
Not shooting 29% from 3.
No, you don't. Yeah. You don't have that kind of unit. But the Celtics are so good that they have the unique ability to get you involved in what they do. And I think that's the mark of a great team. It's like a fighter. I've always dug in boxing how a boxer will make you fight his fight. He won't get into he can fight the way you fight. I mean, that's a versatile fighter. Sure, just like the Celtics are a versatile team. They can play grit and grind. They can play slow. They can play fast. They can play in between. They can play in the post. They can do all of that stuff. But more importantly, I'm not going to play the way you want me to play to your benefit. I'll play the way I want to play, and I'm going to make you play the way I play to your detriment. And I think that's what makes the Celtics as good as they are.
And let me just point out, I'm not a huge numbers guy, but I say, listen, you gotta look when it's slapping you in the face. Yep. So they're 4 of 14 from 3, which makes them 16 of 21. The rest of their 2-pointers, 16 of 21. So that tells me, I'm watching the game, and I don't need the numbers to tell me this. Hey, maybe let's keep going to the hoop. Maybe
how about that? Just an idea, Tom. Just an idea.
Because you know what happens. You keep making those shots. Eventually, those threes become more open, and the basket you're going to start knocking those down. Because you're looking at a team, Boston, who, what did we knock them for last year? shooting too many, but that's what they do. They're 17 of 31, 55% from three. That's not sustainable, guys. I'll just tell you right now, that's not sustainable. So even though they're up 22, it's 72-50 with a minute left in the second. Let me say a couple of things. One, I thought Tatum was going to come out and just kind of be like, I'm focused on the playoffs and winning another title. I have already in the first half changed my mind and said he's coming out wanting to win the MVP this season. I'm just going to put that out there right now. That's what he looks like. Again, it's halfway into the first game of the season. But if that's any indication of what we're going to see from him, he's been listening.
Well,
I've been watching the starting five.
Two things. So you are, and any of you guys in the chat, I don't know if you noticed, but my man right here, he's a long ball shooter. This is what he is. And he knows for a fact that once the ball goes in, he sees the ball go in once or twice, that bucket look like the ocean. That bucket just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So when that happens, on top of that, I mentioned this already, or I mentioned this earlier today, and a lot of guys scoffed at it. Tone, I don't know if you noticed, but Jason Tatum averaged last season, he averaged 35 a game against Mikal Bridges. Do you think that because you're running with somebody different that I'm looking at you different? You still that same guy whose ass I kick. Just because you running with some different crew, just because you're running with a bunch of tough guys, doesn't mean that I'm looking at you like, oh, he's got a bunch of.
I will shout out my boy Alex, because every time Alex defends me in men's league, he knows I'm pulling up from the logo and I won't miss. There's something about when he's standing in front of me. But to your point about the basket, even old guys like me, I'm telling you, Jay, man, last Friday, I hit a couple of threes. Game winner, off balance. I literally just threw it up in the air, banked 3 in for the game winner. And they're like, what? They're like, that shouldn't even count. I'm like, when it starts going in, you can't miss. And that's why I say it's not sustainable. So what's the bigger shock? First, I want to say it again for the people that just tuned in. I think Jason Tatum is playing for an MVP this season, and good for him. I have a newfound respect. This is why I like these shows like Starting Five. I have a new, deeper appreciation for Jason Tatum, which I did not have before. I'm still going to dog him just because you love him so much. However, what's the bigger shock? And it's out of 3 things, okay? 2 things I told you were going to happen, by the way. What's the bigger shock? 1, that Embiid and Paul George are already missing game 1. Oh my God. Load management at its finest. 2, where are the balloons? 2, 1, 2. No balloons? Okay. 2, no balloons tonight. All right, that's all good. 2, that the Knicks are as bad as I told you they were going to be.
You did, Tone. I don't understand why, but keep going because we're going to definitely get to that.
Or 3, I guess 3 goes with 2, or that the Celtics are up 9. Now it's 19. Call it 20. Up on the Knicks already in the first game.
I didn't have them. I had them. Well, the biggest shock. What was number 2 again, Tone?
That the Knicks were going to be this bad.
That part. I didn't have the Celtics smoking them. I had them handling them tonight. That's what I thought it was going to be. I don't think that I mean, again, we still got a whole nother half to go. But the biggest shock to me would be Joel Embiid and Paul George not going. And Joel Embiid not going the whole week, by the way.
Game 1.
That's the biggest shock to me because I accepted the fact. I'd already accepted the fact, Tone, that Joel Embiid was going to be in and out of the lineup for the majority of the season. I already knew that the Celtics, the Philadelphia 76ers, are probably going to be a play-in team off the strength of Joel Embiid, how much they run their offense through him, how much they depend on him. The fact that he's not going to be on the floor nearly as much, that's going to be a continuity issue. But the idea of him not being available on opening night and Paul George not being available on opening night, no, I did not expect that. No. Nope.
The most unexpected thing for me was that I drafted Chris Godwin in fantasy football as my slot, and he's out for the season. But let me cry about that later. Number 1 receiver in points, Chris Godwin. I miss you, man. That being said, there's another game. So actually, let's finish on this one. Do you think the Celtics continue this 20-point blowout, or does
I
it
think
become, as you would say, a dogfight?
I don't think it becomes a dogfight, but I do think they handle the Knicks tonight. I think this is a +10, but anywhere between 8 and 12. I think they handle the Knicks tonight.
8 and 12, 8 and 12. 8 and 12 is actually a close game in today's NBA.
It is.
You can make up 12
100%.
points real quick. I believe. I miss you too, Uno. I believe that the Knicks cannot keep shooting this poorly from three. Okay, so they finished the half. They finished the half at 28.6% at that 4 of 14. I can't see them. I can't see them continuing to shoot that poorly. I cannot.
Tom, let me ask you this question.
I cannot see.
You can't. Keep going.
Let me finish it. I cannot believe that the Celtics are going to continue to shoot 50+% from three. Right. So I think this comes down to a one possession game. And it should, and in this NBA, in today's NBA, I don't think that should shock anyone. Is that one team shot incredibly well from three, the other really bad. Even if they come down a little and the Knicks bring it up a little, well, that's going to be the difference. And I think it's a one. Look, if it's a 4-point game, technically that's 2 possessions. But you know what I mean. Like it's at the end, it's going to be nip and tuck. I think.
Sure.
I think.
But here's the difference. The difference with your logic, Tone, is that I don't think that the Knicks are just shooting this poorly just because. I think the Celtics defense has a lot to do with that. Which is why
absolutely.
And I don't think that that's going to wane. I mean, this kid, Miles McBride. No,
20.
I don't. Well, it's opening night. Like this isn't. We ain't in January. We're not in the middle of the season or the dog days of the season. This is ring night. This is opening night. The energy is up. I think that their defense has a lot to do with. I think their defense has a lot to do with why the Knicks are shooting as bad as they're shooting. I think looking at a guy like OG Anunoby, who still looks slow, like he doesn't look as athletic. He still looks slow. Mikal Bridges, that jump shot looks funny, Tone. I don't know what the story is, but it's
I thought he changed it and it made it worse.
It looks weird. It looks really weird. On top of that, with Jalen Brunson getting downhill, there's still things that they could take advantage of. The Celtics are a very switch-heavy team. Very switch-heavy. And you can take advantage of mismatches. I mean, we got Cat switched on you got Drew Holiday switched on the Cat. You got to take advantage of that. I mean, that's coaching right there. But I think that the Celtics can continue doing what they're doing because they have so many other options. They don't just shoot the long ball. I think people look at them as just a long ball shooting team. Jason Tatum, to start the game, to come out, man, he was out there dealing, Tone. He looked like his playmaking got better. His ability to pass got better. And he's looking for Drew Holiday burying a guy underneath the basket. I really like that and getting fouled. He's looking for Al Horford getting switched onto Jalen Brunson. I think his ability to pass and survey the floor, it looks like it's improved. And I love that about him. So could this lead change? I think it could, but I still think that the Celtics handle these guys off the strength of what they have.
Okay. All right. I see Bridges 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 4 from 3. Like this is not. I told you there's too many. I told you I didn't like the makeup of the team. Look, they're gonna go win some games and everyone's gonna say I was crazy, but I don't like the makeup of the team. I don't. So let's go to game 2.
Really quickly before we go to game 2, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, who is a businessman, I have to ask him. So, Tone, just so you know, the Knicks got Mikal Bridges and Cat. They traded Julius Randle and DiVincenzo for Mikal Bridges, Cat, and 6 ones. You as a businessman, you as a GM, Tone, how you feel about that?
The Knicks traded away 6 ones?
The Knicks traded Bojan. I knew he would love this. So the Knicks traded away Bojan, DiVincenzo, and Julius Randle for they traded Bojan, Julius Randle, and DiVincenzo, and in exchange, in 6 ones, and in exchange, they got back Cat and Mikal Bridges. Because they gave the Knicks 4 of those ones.
And I just want to point out, come here. He heard us talking. Fluent Jr. heard us talking. He says, Mikal Bridges,
up,
here's
nephew?
his problem. Here's his problem. He said he changed his jump shot and it looks like this. Show him.
Yeah, it does look something like that.
Good.
It
It's
does.
not good.
That's weird looking.
He says it
Yes.
bounces from one hand to the other as he shoots it.
Mhm.
He's been breaking down the film. So let me piggyback what you're saying. This is going to go down as a horrible trade.
Oh my God.
6-1s for a putty tat. Okay, it's not his name's not Cat, it's putty tat because he's Charmin. Bridges, who clearly made his shot worse. 6-1s, and you know who they traded away? They traded away the toughest guy on their team in Julius Randle, who I know about his playoff woes. I get it, but he's still a tough player who can get you a tough basket when needed. And I'm calling it right now. They traded away the 6th man of the year.
I don't hate that. Even though Nas is on the crew. I don't hate that.
I think DiVincenzo is going to be the 6th man of the year. He has something to prove. Like, I saw fire in that kid in a preseason game. Now, hopefully it's not just directed at one team that I'm like, I love seeing what I just saw. I love it. 6-1s. 6-1s.
Yes, sir. And by the way, Tone, and not just DiVincenzo, the 6th man, that's your best long ball shooter too. Of all the long ball shooters you got, that's your best long ball shooter. So you move
they got
DiVincenzo.
Cat's their best long ball shooter now.
He's their best long ball shooter now. But now you get off of DiVincenzo, you get off of Julius Randle, and you get off of Bojan, who was another long ball shooter that you had. And now you get Mikal Bridges and Cat back, and you had to give up those 3 guys and 6-1s for those 2. This shit better work, Tone.
I feel like Minnesota just did to New York what we all thought Utah did to them. Just bamboozled them. Remember when they traded for Gobert and we were like, they got what for Gobert? That's the feeling I have about what this trade's going to look like.
Yeah. And there are people who roasted it like, yo, this is the worst trade in NBA history. And I'm like, let's relax. Let's
we always got to wait and see who do those picks turn into, of course. But
because we just saw something. I mean, you just brought up Paul George, and for the record, ladies and gentlemen, Paul George, he's in Philadelphia. So not the Clippers, Oklahoma City, in exchange for that trade, they get SGA, they get a 1st round pick, which was the number 12 pick, which turned into J-Dub. They get the rotation player Jalen Williams, and they get a 4th guy. I forgot who it was, but they got all of that for Paul George. So when you want to talk about bad trades, this right here, when I'm looking at what Mikal Bridges is doing, and I'm looking at what Cat are doing. And again, I'm not overreacting on it because it's the first night, Tone. This is night.
It's not even the first night. It's the first half. It's the first half. That's it. But these are all thoughts I had before tonight, and I expressed, like I told you what I thought about the Knicks. I feel like we trade. The Clippers made a trade for Indiana Paul George.
That's not who they.
I think Philadelphia thought they were signing Indiana Paul George. That's not who he is. He hasn't been that guy for a long, long time. I feel like Paul George, James Harden, a bunch of these guys have been moved around a couple of times as of late, and they think they're getting their former selves, and they're not. They're not. They think it's like a Randy Moss. They think it's like Randy Moss to the Patriots. Oh no, it was the Raiders were the problem. And look how good he did in New England. Nah, as my kid would say, nah, fam. Speaking of fam,
since we on that subject,
I'm putting this out there right now. We are an hour and 19 minutes away from Lakers Timberwolves, and I'm putting this out there right now. Right now, please. It's not Jeannie. JJ, I know I don't like you. You don't like me, JJ. However, please, let's just get it over with. Start Bronny and LeBron. Start Bronny and LeBron. Start Bronny and LeBron. Just do it. Just get it over with.
Just do it.
Just do it. Just start Bronny and LeBron. Get it over with. Take all the pictures of the Griffies. Take the picture of those two dapping up before whoever goes and AD goes and loses the tip. Like, I just do it. Just start them. Just get it over with. Get it over with. let my boys at Comedy Riot make I'm starting, Papa. Like, let's go. Let's do it. I love. Have you watched those guys, Comedy Riot? Those have you seen these?
I've never heard that before. That just sounds funny, Tom.
You've never seen it?
Nah, yo, that just sounds funny.
I am gonna send you the best clips you've ever seen in your life. Comedy Riot is like even little Miss Fluent goes, Is this my new assistant coach, Papa? About JJ Redick? Like,
she's on the page.
It's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. So just do it. Just start Bronny, start LeBron, and let's go. I'm gonna send you the link on TikTok.
I'd love to see it. Yeah.
For Comedy Riot. Okay. Other than that, what are you looking forward to in Game 2, Lakers and Timberwolves?
I'm looking forward to Anthony Edwards. Like what I saw tonight with Jason Tatum and how he was getting everybody else involved and then getting to his spots and shooting the basketball. I'm looking for Anthony Edwards very much like what I saw last year early. I want to see that in-between game. That's what I want to see. I know he can shoot the long ball. I watched him against the Knicks. He had 8 threes against them. Now, I do understand, Tony, that's the way the league is going. I can appreciate that. That's the way the league is going. The guys shoot more long balls than they have in the past. But I feel like that in-between game, I think, especially with a guy like Anthony Edwards, I think that causes havoc for other teams defensively and causes havoc for him defensively. I'm looking for Julius Randle. To do what he was doing with the Knicks, being that downhill guy, unlocking guys like Mike Conley, unlocking guys like Alexander Walker and DiVincenzo. I'm looking for Naz Reid to be Naz Reid. I'm looking for what kind of action these guys run.
First pick in the expansion draft to Las Vegas. I forgot what our name was going to be, but
Kings.
No, we weren't the Kings.
Yeah, you said something like the Kings because of LeBron.
Oh, we were going to change Sacramento. Oh yeah, maybe. Okay, it's Riot Comedy. I think I said Comedy Riot because I'm dyslexic. I just randomly picked the most recent one. I don't even think this is the funniest one, but hold on.
Don't wear this stupid thing, because I want you to make a good impression on your first day of work. I worked hard to get you this job. But, Papa, I don't even want to be a basketball player. I want to be an artist. Then you should have stayed in college for art. I told you if you dropped out, you had to come work with me. But Kanye West, Jonah Hill, and Rosie O'Donnell all dropped out of college, and they're artists. They're all just a bunch of fat lesbos. Get real, Bronny. It's time for you to get a real job and be an NBA player. Yes, Papa. Great. Now let's get out there and throw me an alley-oop.
It's not even the best one. It's not even the best. It's just if you go, I'm gonna send you the link. If you go back, JJ Redick's sitting there, and Bronny walks in and he goes, "Oh, is this your new assistant coach, Papa?" And just the way he always said, "Papa." This is the best.
That's the funny part right there. That is.
Papa. So, but that's why start them. We were doing serious. We were doing serious analysis. Right. Okay.
I was talking about Minnesota and the fact that Naz Reid being one of the better rotation guys in the league. I'm looking at Minnesota's offense this season more than anything because I already know who they are defensively. They're arguably the best team. They were the best team in the league last year defensively. I'm looking at what kind of action they get offensively and what kind of shots.
Did they get better defensively?
I think they get tougher defensively with Julius Randle. And I think that helps. And I know this may sound ridiculous, Tom, but I think they could get better offensively with Julius Randle as a playmaker and passer. I think they could get better.
I think so too, because he's going to be more kind of mid-range / kind of setting up even as crazy as this sounds. You know how important this is, right? Setting screens and getting other people free, as opposed to Cat, who did it well, would just kind of step out and shoot threes, right? And I think he gives them that because it's not like Rudy Gobert is going to be a big threat to score. That's not his thing. So I think that dynamic kind of helps a little bit. It'll make some room for those other guys like you mentioned.
Yeah. And on top of that,
oh, sorry, go ahead.
And on top of that, with Minnesota, the idea of Julius Randle, replacing Cat. Okay, well, he doesn't replace him because he's not the shooter that Cat is. He can shoot though. I think there's a difference. Like, for example, ladies and gentlemen, I can shoot, right? I had a pretty good mid-range game, and I could knock down the three. This guy right here is a shooter. Those two things are not the same thing. I could shoot. He's a shooter. Julius Randle can shoot. He can knock down a 17-footer. Cat is a shooter. He knocks down the long ball. His game starts at the mid-range line. So I think that's a dynamic that they might miss, but I feel like him getting downhill and him collapsing the defense, he's one of the better distributors just in the paint in the last 2 years that the NBA has had.
Are they going to miss? I know my answer, but I'm curious. I don't think they're gonna. Do you think, are they going to miss Cat shooting? Because I think, although DiVincenzo is a very different type of player, he's just as efficient a 3-point shooter. Like, I don't think they're going to miss Cat shooting. And that's really his number one trait.
Well, I do think they're going to miss his shooting tone off the strength that with him being a big, well, you drag that big man away from the basket. That allows us to rebound more. That allows us to get to the rim more because you don't have that rim protector in the paint, as opposed to a guy like Julius Randle, who he plays a little bit closer to the basket. So there's still going to be some spacing, right? There's still going to be some spacing where you're going to get that big man out of the paint, but not as much as when Cat was there. When Cat was there, we had a lot more spacing in terms of dragging that big man away from the rim, and Ant could get to the rim. Rudy Gobert had more opportunities at the rim. Guys like Jaden McDaniels, who I love, by the way, he has more opportunities. And I feel like with Julius Randle, I don't think they lose that much spacing, but I do think that they lose some.
To the Lakers, are they still? Do they still want to win?
Yes. Tone, can you please not? You're a Laker guy, and
I know my answer.
I don't want you to buy into this logic, man. The Lakers are serious. I'm not buying the whole just because they drafted Bronny. They ran into Denver. That's the problem. They ran into Denver. If they didn't run into Denver, I like their chances against anybody else in the Western Conference. Line them all up: Minnesota, Oklahoma City, Memphis, Houston, Dallas, Sacramento, Phoenix. Line all of these teams up in the Western Conference. I like their chances against every last one of them if they can avoid the Denver Nuggets, because the Denver Nuggets have their number. And it's not because the Denver Nuggets are just the boogeyman, which in reality they are, just like LeBron James was the boogeyman in the East. If you can avoid that team and you can avoid what they do, because that's just a matchup nightmare for you guys. If you can avoid them, I think you got a shot against everybody else. Everybody.
Let me say, my answer is, of course, because I don't care. I've told you this before. I don't care about the 55th pick because no one gives about the 55th pick. Because name me 5, because everyone can name one. Name me 5 55th picks. Mm-hmm. Can you name 5 55 picks?
I can name one, Tone, and that's the kid in Oklahoma City, Wiggins. I know about him.
The kid was a 55 pick, yes.
The kid in with the Golden State Warriors. I think he's still on the roster. I think he's a foreigner. He's still on the roster, but he doesn't play much. That's this season.
You didn't name him,
right?
So you got what I'm saying so far.
I'm thinking of him, but those are the only 2 guys that I'm thinking about off the top of my head that are 55th picks. The only reason why you care about this is because his name is James. That's it. You don't care.
The only reason I'm talking the 55th pick is because I just want people to admit it's nepotism. And again, for the 100th time, ain't nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing. Isaiah Wong, by the way, was a 55 pick. Do you know who else was a 55? Patty Mills.
Patty Mills is in the league anymore. Patty is not in the league anymore.
I didn't say he's in the league anymore. I just meant, can you name
55th pick? Wasn't Ginobili the 55th pick, or he might have been the 54th, something like that?
I
think Ginobili was the 54th or the 55th. And for the record, ladies and gentlemen, my co-host here, I can tell you right now, if you rewind the clock back to when he was younger, if he was in the league and Fluent Jr. was coming out of college and he had an opportunity to play with Fluent Jr. today, ask him if he would do it.
Sign him up.
He wouldn't think twice about it. Get him on.
Get him on.
Get him on the crew.
I'm not signing my contract till you sign his.
How about that?
If I had that much clout, I'd come up. My only issue is that they're not coming right out and saying it. I'll say it. Damn right, I'll say it.
I'm not. You don't until you ink him, you ain't getting me.
You want my services? No problem. You're getting him a car. You're getting him a this. doing that, just sign him up a deal. No problem.
And I know this sounds
I'll take it.
ridiculous, Tone. I know this sounds ridiculous, Tone, but if we being honest, if I'm in a position where I can put family on, why am I not doing that? Why am I not doing that? I have an opportunity. I'm in a position to put my family on. I ain't in a position to put a dude I went to school with on. I ain't in a position to put one of my friends on. I'm in a position to put my family on. Why am I not doing that?
Well, exactly. Everybody else does it. Everybody else does it. Everybody else. Go look at. Listen, I was watching Judge Judy.
Yep.
You watch Judge Judy? I love Judge Judy. Mrs. Fluent watches Judge Judy every day. She's like part of our family. She watches her every day. And she has this new show called Judy Justice. Yep. And on her right side, or maybe her left side, my right, is a stenographer. You know, the girl that types all the words out right, and she reads.
Let me guess, Tone. They're related.
No. On her right side is another person who I don't know what her role is during the show. She's literally just sitting there watching. And at the end of the show, her and this girl have a little back and forth. And this one time, the girl says, I disagree with your ruling on that one, Judge, because da-da-da-da-da. And she says, that's an interesting take. You know what? I'm gonna take a look at that. And I went, who the hell is that woman? Because if anybody else talked like that to Judge Judy, she'd be like, get the hell out of it. And so, not that it took much, but Miss Fluent is an investigator. So yeah, that's Judge Judy's granddaughter.
Of course.
So her granddaughter's there. She's learning how to do this. Judge Judy's 89 years old. Guess what's going to happen? Judy's going to be like, I'm retiring, but I've been grooming my granddaughter. It's now Judge, whatever her name is, taking over the show.
It's my son.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time. Everywhere. So again, I don't care. And that's why I'm even saying we got an hour and 6 minutes. Start Bronny James. Make the moment special. Don't unless you think bringing him in at 4 minutes to a crazy. Is it in LA? Hold on, let me check.
In Los Angeles. Yes, it's in Los Angeles.
Okay, so maybe you want to bring him in and to a roaring crowd, but I think it's better just bring him out. He's warmed up. He's ready. Don't bring him off the bench.
Can we compound your statement? I don't know if you know this, Tone, but Ken Griffey and his father are going to be there tonight. Just off the strength of this.
That's what I said to you. I said cut to him right away. Just show them that.
Let's get right to it.
What? Have the Griffies out there singing the national anthem. They can all high five. I don't care. Let's just do it.
Tone,
why delaying it? Why delay it? You know you want to do it. Just do it.
You've been an advocate since I've known you. You've been an advocate, for lack of a better term. Yo, don't bullshit me. I mean, I can handle it. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. Don't bullshit me. So with that being said, we know what the kid is doing here. Like, it's not news. The kid is here because his pops wants to play with him.
So just
that's why he's here.
And the people who say like, well, did you see that game? He scored 17 points. They lost by 100.
Got smoked by 60.
And it's the same people who said, well, don't look at the first 4 games where he was terrible. Ignore those. Oh, but look at this game. I go, hold on. Those 4 games that he sucked don't count, but the one he played good count. No, who cares? I don't care. He's on the team. He's got a Laker jersey. He's on my team now. So we root for him. And since we're rooting for him, just start him. Have the moment. Because you know what's going to happen? AD loses the tip. Bronny gets the steal. Gives it up to Dad. Dad throws down a jam. Son gets an assist. Everybody cries. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I gotta stop with that.
Hey, you know what? I've got this water.
I need some water.
Tone, did you see that? And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about Bronny James, and Tone is right. If we being honest, Tone is right. This is why you got the kid. You got the kid to sell tickets. Just so you know, when he got drafted, he had the highest jersey. He had the highest jersey sales in the league when he got drafted. Numero uno. Nobody was selling more jerseys than Bronny James when he got drafted. So with that being said,
that's crazy.
So with that being said, when you draft him, let's not make any bones about it. Let's just get right to it. And then once we get past that, and let's get back to basketball, because I do think that this kid on some level, at some point, is going to be a player, just not right now. Just not right now. So after we get that out the way, all right, now let's get down to basketball. And let's get down to the fact that Anthony Davis has got to deal with Rudy Gobert tonight, the defensive player of the year. How are we going to handle ourselves offensively? What kind of schemes does JJ Redick have playing against a team that's this good defensively?
Yes.
So you got a guy in Jaden McDaniels who's arguably the best perimeter defender in the game, first team all-league defender. And you got the defensive player of the year on your – I'm not first team, I'm sorry, an all-league defender, Jaden McDaniels is. So you got the defensive player of the year on your roster. Okay, JJ, how are you going to scheme at going at these guys? It's not just going to be give the ball to James, one pass and shot, because you're playing right into their hands. How are you going to scheme against these guys? How are you going to get these guys involved? How are you going to get D'Angelo Russell involved? I think one of the things that I will see tonight from this crouton is you and I talked about it with Darvin Ham, where Darvin Ham sees himself in Taurean Prince. That's why Taurean Prince was playing as much as he was. Yeah. I think JJ Redick sees himself somewhat in Austin Reeves and in Dalton Connect. I wouldn't be surprised that if I see a lot of Dalton Connect and Austin Reeves, not necessarily together. Hey, little bit, how are you, dear? I wouldn't be surprised if I saw some Dalton Connect and some Austin Reeves action. Not just those, not those guys together, but get action with those guys, getting them involved. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw that.
No, and you shouldn't be, because they're going to need to get scoring from everywhere, even if it's in little chunks, for them to stay competitive against Minnesota. Look, Minnesota is a better team than the Lakers right now. They are. They're just a better team defensively. Offensively, they're a better team. Yes,
go to bed. Go to bed. Love you.
Good night. Good night.
Love you.
They're a better team offensively. They're a better team defensively. So how can we counteract those things, right? How do we slow down Anthony Edwards? How do we score on Gobert and McDaniels? Like, those are the things that's JJ Redick is tasked with doing. Yep. However, this is my point, and I'm going to go back to it about starting Bronny James, because if you don't start him in this game, I'm not saying make him a full-time starter. If you don't start him in this game, what are they going to be doing the whole first quarter, second quarter? When is he going to come in? When is it? That's what I guarantee you. That's what the announcers are going to be doing. They're going to be sitting there going, they're going to cut to a picture of him on the bench clapping and going, and the question is, when will Bronny play with Braun? No, start him, do it, pull him, let him get the ovation, and now play. There's no question about when it's gonna happen. Do it fast, do it early, get it out of the way.
Does that set a tone though for the game though? If you do that?
No. I think it gets rid of the distraction. It gets rid of the distraction. I'd rather have the distraction for the first 30 seconds or 3 minutes or whatever the hell he plays than because you know what's going to happen. It's like watching a Kansas City Chiefs game and they cut to Taylor Swift 4,000 times every time Kelsey's on the field. It's like, there's Kelsey. Oh, he dropped the pass. What does she think about it? Oh, there's Kelsey, made a great play. Oh, look at her cheering, right? Like, it's the most annoying thing in the world. And I know they don't do it as much as they used to. However, that's what this game is going to be. We're going to be like, Braun touches the ball. Oh, when's Bronny going to play with him? Braun scores a basket. Oh, when's he going to play with them? Don't eliminate. Listen, I know they won't do it, but that's what they should do. That's what they should do, and just get it over with. But who the hell listens to me? How's your math?
My basic arithmetic is pretty good.
Pretty good.
I got a B- in algebra.
Oh no, I'm not going that far. I'm just talking basic.
My basic arithmetic is good. Mm-hmm.
How's your division?
I'm actually pretty good in long division, sure.
All right, so check this out. So Orlando Magic guard Jalen Suggs has agreed to a 5-year, $150.5 million. 5-year, $150.5 million rookie contract extension.
Sure.
And the guys on the internet said $70 million a year for Jalen Suggs.
If you doing our books, we don't have no money. No.
Carry the 7 and the 1. No. I don't think that's right.
That's not correct at all. No, that's not even correct. Like, you might subtract $40 million a season from that. What the hell? What the hell is going on here, man? If you doing our books, we'll be out of business.
I'm really concerned. I'm really concerned with our future.
we are out of business if he's doing our books because he's clearly has no idea what we're talking about. And I actually like that deal, Tone. To be honest with you, I do.
You know what's crazy? $30 million a year. Once upon a time was the salary cap for the entire team 24 years ago. Just think about that.
When Jordan signed that $30 million deal, we was like, what the hell? Oh,
no, we said what the hell because it was 107% of the team's salary cap.
Yes. We was like, my goodness.
That's actually a good deal.
Yeah, they got him on the cheap. They really did.
Good deal.
They got Jordan on the cheap. Today, to get a guy at $30 million, just so you know, Tone, Minnesota got a 25-10 guy on their roster. That was an all-pro a year ago. They got a guy on their roster today in Julius Randle, who was 25-10 last year, made the all-pro team and the all-star team. They got him on the books at $28 million.
He's getting a big raise.
Yes, 100%.
That's why the Knicks traded him, because he is getting a big raise. We have okay. What do you want to do next?
Mm-hmm.
What do you want to do next? Because here's what we have. We have the TNT cast and 4 or 5 examples of who they had in their top 50, because I think it's interesting.
Let's do that.
Hall of Fame and eligibility.
There's the balloons. There they go.
Balloons.
We're looking for you guys. Where
this one seems to work now a lot. The confetti. How about this is my favorite one, the lasers. I want to save the Hall of Fame because ladies and gentlemen, I know how my man over here feels about the Hall of Fame. We'll save that.
I want to save that because that's going to be interesting. I would like to get into the top 50 list because there's some interesting names on that list. There's some interesting spots where these guys are. I think that's interesting. I
think what's interesting, to your point, is how different each player is ranked by each one of these guys. Who, like, these guys work together every single week. You would think there'd be, but there's like zero continuity, which makes it better in my opinion. So let's start with. Let's start. I'm just going to do it in just random order. I'm going to save him for last. Okay. So that's good. Okay. So let's start with Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if you have a top 50 list, but where would you have him ranked?
I got him right outside the top 10. I had him at 11.
Chuck has him at 43. 43. Shaq, our good friend Shaq has him at 15. Kenny the Jet, by game, not by name, Smith has him at 16. So 15, 16, I think 15, 16. I think in that 10 to 15 range. I'm lower on Mitchell than you. You have him outside. I think 15, 16 makes sense to me for Mitchell. 43.
I don't think. Well, I'm not even entertaining that, and I think Charles is high on Mitchell. The reason why he got Mitchell at 43 is I think that's rage bait. I don't think that that's anything. I don't think that that's anything to do with being honest, because there's not 20 players in the game better than Donovan Mitchell. I don't think there's 15 players in the game better than Donovan Mitchell. So to your point, anywhere between 10 to 15 is okay. I'm thinking anywhere between 8 and 12, 8 and 11, 8 and 12. That's as low as I'm going. But to say that there's 43 guys, he's doing that. 1, for rage bait, and 2, he looks at Donovan Mitchell like he thinks Donovan Mitchell should be leading a team to the championship. I think that's the high regard that he has for.
Yeah, but that's the thing though. If you're a top 15 player, that means your team should be a top 15 team that should be in the conversation.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Tone, because
Cleveland is, right?
I think they're the third best team in the East. I do. I think they're the third best team in the East. He didn't give them any. I don't think he gave them any. Well, Donovan Mitchell in particular, I don't think he gave him any like wiggle room. Donovan Mitchell got on a play-in team. With him getting on a play-in team, they go from being a play-in team to losing in the first round with a bunch of kids. By the way, Evan Mobley was 21 years old.
Yeah.
Darius Garland was 22 years old. Till last year, Donovan Mitchell ended up getting hurt. If he doesn't get hurt, I think that Celtics series is a lot more competitive then we get. I still think that the Celtics beat them. I just think it's a little bit more competitive than what we gave them credit for. Now, this season, and I'm on record saying it, I would not be surprised if the Cavs was in the East Finals. That would not surprise me one bit if they were in the East Finals, off the strength of how good I think Evan Mobley is going to be. And I think Evan Mobley's the defensive player of the year. So I think the Cavs are going to be really good. There aren't 15 players in the game better than Donovan Mitchell. So for Charles to say Donovan Mitchell is the 43rd best player in the game, he's doing that for rage bait.
All right. We will go to number 2, my favorite player. This is crazy because it is so wide. So you got Smith. Smith has him at 14 ahead of Donovan Mitchell, which I think. Look, I'm not saying this works out as an exact science, because it doesn't. Sure. Because there's guys like LeBron and AD who are both going to be in the top 32. But if you're not option 1, 2, at best option 3 or 4 on a team, there's no way you can be top 30. You can't be option 3 or 4 on a team and be top or your team is stacked. The Clippers are not.
So if you tell him, is Derek White a top 30 player?
Exactly.
Is that what you're trying to tell me?
I think Kenny is nuts. James Harden not to be top 50 is more realistic than 14, but I think Shaq got it right. He's just holding on.
There's not 40 players in the game better than James Harden. There's not 30 players in the game better than James Harden. There's not.
Today,
in today's game, I don't know if there's 30 players in the game better than James Harden. All right, so I'll run it out.
He's the most correct. Shaq's of these 3, he's the most correct.
I'll run it down. I'll run it down for you really quickly, Tone. So you got Joker, Giannis, Luka, Tatum, Embiid, SGA, AD, KD, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Donovan Mitchell, Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, Bam Adebayo, Jalen Brunson, Jalen Green, not John Morant, Jaylen Brown, De'Aaron Fox, Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Cat, Zion Williamson, Brandon Ingram. Let's see. I feel like I'm leaving some people out. Paolo Banchero. Let's see. I feel like I'm leaving some people in. When I get to 25.
Can I make your list? Can I make your life easier and tell me who you disagree? Can you maybe tell me who you disagree with?
I disagree with Charles and I disagree with Shaq. I don't think that there's 48 players in the NBA better than James Harden.
No. I'm going to say who do you disagree with? So let me know when you can see the. Oh wait, let me pull up the list. All right.
Yep.
So Jokic.
Yes.
Giannis, Luka,
yes.
Steph,
yes.
LeBron,
yes.
Durant, Embiid, SGA, Edwards, Jaylen Brown, Tatum, Davis, Booker, Brunson, Mitchell, Lillard, Kyrie, George, Halliburton, Adebayo, Butler, Morant, Young, Cat, Randall, Banchero, Zion, Jamal, Kawhi. I'm assuming
Stop right there, Tone.
Jamal
Murray. I'm not sure about Jamal Murray. I'm not sure if Jamal Murray is better than James Harden. But keep going. I'm not sure about that one.
Wait. So let me ask you this: if Jamal Murray is replaced with James Harden, is Denver an NBA? Does Denver win an NBA? Does Denver win a championship?
I don't think. I think they. That 2-man game between
James.
Today, James Harden.
I think the answer is no. So I see where you can make that argument, but
yeah,
because we have a tendency to look at who they were, not
sure.
who they are, right?
I'm not. This isn't 20. We're not turning the clock back to. This isn't 2018, 2019 James Harden. No, this is 2024, 34-year-old James Harden. But the same guy who still needs the ball in his hands. The same guy who he will distribute. I think he's a better passer than Jamal Murray. I still think I don't think he's a better tough shot maker than Jamal Murray today, though. I think Jamal Murray is still a better tough shot maker. Excuse me.
So we'll keep Jamal Murray as one.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Where were we? Murray. There it is.
We're at 28.
Kawhi Leonard, Bradley Beal, Vic.
Right there. He's better than Bradley Beal.
He's better than Bradley
He's
today?
better than Brad today. In today's game, James Harden is better than Bradley Beal, 100%.
I strongly disagree. However, I'll keep year 2 so far. Victor, Fox, LaMelo Ball.
I think I'm
I don't know.
I think I'm taking James Harden over LaMelo Ball.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Drew Holiday.
Nope.
I'm taking Drew. I'm taking Drew over.
I'm taking him. I saw that in the Olympics when I saw Steve Kerr make it clear that despite whatever rotations I got going on, that dude need to be on the floor. He needs to be on the floor, and I'll figure out the rest.
Jaren Jackson. I don't want to talk about. Okay, he's too low there, but Jaren Jackson, Siakam, Sengun, Tyler Hero, Maxey.
Right, he's better than Tyler Hero.
I think everybody's better than Tyler Hero. I don't think Tyler Hero is a top 100 player.
I think he's better than Jaren Jackson too, Tone.
Jaren Jackson?
I think he's better than Jaren Jackson too. Yes.
Maxey, Porzingis, Green.
He better than him too.
Jalen Green?
Yep, he's better than him too. Sabonis is way too low on this list. That's nuts.
Yeah, Sabonis needs to be way higher than that. Franz Wagner, DeMar DeRozan, Klay Thompson, Aaron Gordon.
He's better than Klay Thompson. He's better than Aaron Gordon. Scotty Barnes is too low on this list too, Tone.
Yeah, that's insane.
He's better than DeJounte Murray too. Yes, he is better than him.
Okay.
Which, by the way, I'm glad I got my man on the line because I made a declaration today, Tone, and the declaration is that this season you and I are going to talk more Toronto Raptors basketball. I have to pay because over this last year, and not just over this last year, like a year and a half, and I think I might have said something to you about it. I keep hearing, yo, G, what's going on with Scotty Barnes? You need to start paying more attention to Scotty Barnes. So I have to start paying more attention to Scotty Barnes. So I'm going to watch more Toronto Raptors basketball. On top of that, you know I'm an RJ Barrett guy. So I dig RJ Barrett.
Why don't you just fly up to Toronto and we'll go catch a game?
That really doesn't sound like a bad idea. Well, if I'm being honest with you, that really doesn't. I got my passport right here. I mean, it really doesn't sound like because I was thinking about taking a trip this season to get to a game. You know what, Tone? That really doesn't sound like a terrible idea.
Let's just do it. I'll also be down. The only problem is I'm not in. Oh, when am I in Orlando? I'm in Orlando in May, so that's they won't be playing basketball, and neither team will be.
I'm surprised if the Orlando Magic is in the East semifinals or in the East finals in May.
So for the record, of that list of 50, you said 7, even though I didn't agree with them all, you said 7 people you had Harden over. So that would make him 42.
Well, that was and he was by the way, he was at 49.
Yeah, so. He was at 49. And then like I said, 49 I thought was closer than 14.
Let me see that list again, Tone.
Yeah. You want to see the list or the?
Can I take a list? Can I take a look at the list again?
Shaq's list?
No, the 49, the 50 guys that you had on there. Can I take a look at that?
That was Shaq's list.
Right. I'd like to take a look at that one more time.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to see the. I thought you wanted to see. I'm drawing a blank on what I was going to say. I thought you wanted to see
Shaq, Kenny, and Charles. No. I wanted to see the 50. Yeah, the 50 guys that you just ran.
Yeah.
See that from the beginning. Let's see here. I'm over the top 10. No, he's not a top 10 player today. Top 20. I don't think he's better than any of those guys. Kyrie Irving, Paul George. I don't think he's better. Now, when we get from 20 to 29, then it gets tricky.
You only mentioned one person, which was Jamal Murray and Bradley Beal.
Yeah, Jamal Murray and Bradley Beal. So those are two guys. Bradley Beal, definitely, I think he's better than him. Jamal Murray, I think we can have a conversation about him being better than him. Those two guys. And then from 30 to 39, he's better than Tyler Hero. I think Jaren Jackson too. And LaMelo Ball.
Yep.
Those are the 3 guys that I think he's better than there. And from 40 to DiVincenzo, DeJounte Murray, Aaron Gordon, Klay Thompson. Yeah, he's definitely better than those guys. Yes.
Okay, that's 9. So you moved him up to 41.
Yeah.
Still good. Still good. Okay, so that's James Harden. Okay, for real this time. All right. Good night. Say good night to Uncle Chill.
Good night, Uncle Chill.
All right.
Later, young fella. Love you. Get some sleep.
Go get some sleep. Wait, what's up?
Give me some. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Uh-huh. Love you. All right.
Got to do the hand. Got to do the handshake. You know.
You got the dad handshake. Mm-hmm.
Completely threw me off. Okay, let's do
Mm-hmm.
my favorite laugh in the business.
Hey, I got this water. That's funny.
Hey, you know what? I've got this water, and we got this red version. We got a red bottle, and we got a David Beckham version here. And we got a blue version.
Forget the blue version.
I'm sorry. That is great. Oh my goodness.
Shout out to Kanye.
Oh man, that's great.
So we've got Mr. Part-Time, Degenerative Knees, Kawhi Leonard.
Yep.
We got him Kenny 15, Shaq 29, Chuck. What's that, Chuck? What's that, Chuck? Where do you got him? And as my good friend Chilltown Hoops would say,
that's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
I don't think you can put him in. How do you rank him?
It's
like,
difficult.
If you gotta say if he plays for the Braves, no, then he's out.
Then he might be out, man. The problem with Kawhi, and this, oh my God, Tony, this gets my blood pressure up because he's so damn good when he's available. He's so damn good. The problem is that.
Okay. So hold on. So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. So if he plays out of 100, what would you give him? Like his 2K rating, what would you give him out of 100?
He's in the 96, 97 percentile.
Okay.
Yes,
so here's the problem. So he's a 96. If he only plays half the season, you have to divide that by 2. Oh. So he's a 48.
Terrible, yo.
Now he's not ranked. That's the problem.
Damn.
Right? Like, and here's the funny part. And I know I've said this a million times, and I know the Toronto Raptors, for all their flaws, have one of, if not the best, training staffs in basketball, maybe in sports. And one of the biggest what ifs will be, and forever will be, should he have stayed in Toronto, that staff would have kept him on the floor, and we would be talking very differently about Kawhi. And let me say this. There's probably 2 places that would have made sense for Kawhi. Well, I guess 3. Arizona, Phoenix.
There's the family youth in Arizona. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
I'll tell you what it is in a minute. Arizona, Toronto, and maybe Minnesota. And here's why. 1, Arizona. Degenerative knees, arthritis, that dry heat is such a fountain of youth that I'm telling you, I've lived there. It makes you feel like you can just, like, I have a broken back, as you know, but I could golf every day because it was just loose and limber, and it was great. Even with a broken back, I could play golf. Degenerative knees, I don't know, it would just slow the process down. I think Toronto, because of their staff, I don't know, maybe it's the cold that, like, he was always complaining about, but maybe his knees were basically getting ice just walking down the street. I'm telling you, something happened. And so
he's so damn good though, Tone. I think that's where the divide is, man, where we have to talk about him like this. If I'm being honest, if he stays in Toronto, they're in the NBA finals in the 2019-2020 season minimum.
Let's be
in
clear.
the NBA finals.
Toronto won a higher percentage of games that next year without him.
Without Danny Green and him. So you get Leonard back in that lineup with the Toronto Raptors, with OG Anunoby, with Pascal Siakam, with Kyle Lowry.
May I say, because people forget, OG Anunoby had an appendectomy and didn't even play those playoffs. So you would have had him for a full offseason added to that team?
Yep, he wasn't even around. So with him not even being around, they still won the NBA championship. Now you want to add him to the fold? I think at minimum, I think at minimum they're in the NBA championship. At minimum they're in the NBA finals. So with that being said, we're having a completely and totally different conversation about Kawhi Leonard at this point. He's so damn good, Tone, that it's so difficult to rank him. See, like when Rob Sampson got hurt, we saw the drop off, even though he was still, I think he was in like year 7. I mean, we saw the drop off because he couldn't run as well as he used to. And we saw guys when Penny got hurt, like we saw the drop off with his game. It just wasn't what it was. This guy Leonard, on the other hand, Tone, there doesn't seem to be a drop off.
No,
like when he plays, he's still
when he plays, it make that's why people struggle with him so much. Is like they're like, is he really hurt?
Right.
He's
so damn good.
Question his want. Because like there's no way you could have all these injuries and come back and play this well and then injured again and then come back and play this well every single time. It's insane.
Yeah.
If you had to, which one are you?
He's closer to 15 than he is to 29. He's dead. There aren't 50 players in the game better than him. There are not. They're not.
He's a top 5 talent. He's a top 5 talent with not top 50 available. Well, no.
Tone, really quickly, we got a goofball in the chat. His name is Mike. So a couple of weeks ago, Mike came on to the Chill with Chill show with me and Ox. And remember how Jerome Bettis fumbled on a goal line against against Indianapolis in the AFC Championship?
Sure,
that's what he did. And when he came up, he's a goofy. He's always been a goofy. He comes onto the panel and he talks in all caps, and all he does is repeat what everybody else says. He has no legit logic. Nothing that he says has any authenticity to it. He just says what he heard somebody else say, and he tries to pawn it off as his own. So I'd like to introduce you, Tone. This is Mike, a goofy.
Well, I will say this because he says, "Do you remember me?" And the answer is always no. I don't remember anybody, so don't take it personal. I don't. So Kawhi. So where are we putting Kawhi?
I think he's closer to 15, Tone. And when I say I mean on the back end of 15, I mean like I don't know if it's 20 players better than him in the game today. I can't say that there's 20 players better than him. I'd be lying if I said that there was 20. He's definitely further away from 29 than he is 15. So I could see him anywhere between, if you got him anywhere between 16 and 20, I don't have an issue with that.
See, my thing with Kawhi is this. Because he's a top 5 talent, I see what you're saying, right? It's tough to call him 29 is like, how do you say that about a guy who's a top 5 talent every time he plays, and his knock is his injury, which it's caused by degenerative knees. However, if someone had him at 20, 25, I understand the reasoning. Right, like I understand it. It's because of you just don't know if he'll be there to play. So I get it, but yeah, I'm with you in terms of I'm stuttering because he's impossible to rank. He's so tough to rank because is he playing? Well, yeah, then you're arguing top 10. Yep. If he's not playing, well, then how can a person not playing be in your top 50? You got to keep him out. So do you average it out and say, well, he's not playing, he's out of the top 50. If he's playing, he's top 10. So 30, he's right in the middle. Like that's the assessment you have to make, which is hard.
And what am I going to get from him too, Tone, when he plays? Because we saw him 2 years ago in the playoffs when they played against Phoenix, and for that game and a half, he looked like he was on his way to being the best player in the playoffs. Last year, he made the All-Pro team, playing 68 games. He made the All-Pro team playing 68 games, broke down in the playoffs. Here we go again. So I don't even think he played the whole game when they played in the playoffs last year against Dallas. And then on top of that, we get the Olympic Committee, we get them to call up the Clippers and go, "Hey, come get your man," because it's just not realistic. Tone, he has not played in the preseason.
Did he know he had to get surgery? Like, why did he go to the Olympics? Like that one bothers me.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, Tone. It wasn't like the Olympics were like a couple of days like after. It wasn't like it was a couple of days after the playoffs. The practices didn't start until July. They were out of the playoffs in April. So we still had 2 months, 2.5 months. He knew that his situation was way worse. He couldn't run. It was obvious that we got to get him off the floor. Not because he sucks as a player, because as a player, he's awesome. The problem is physically he can't do it, which would explain why he didn't play all preseason. He hasn't been practicing. He hasn't been running. And the reason why he hasn't been running is because, to your point, Tone, he doesn't have an injury. He's got a condition. Understand the difference between an injury and a condition. He has a condition that's getting worse. And the longer we go, the worse it's going to get. Tone, you're a businessman. You know how bad this guy is in terms of his health. Are you putting $48 million on the table, fam?
No, I'm telling him to retire. I think he should retire for his own good. For his own good.
I'm out.
Only because of time. Because you got to go. You got a 10 o'clock.
I do.
Well, 10 o'clock. Playback. Go check out Chill doing the Laker Timberwolves game on playback. That's Player's Choice playback.
Yes.
Player's Choice playback. Shout out. Did you notice our new set and our new logo by any chance? Did you see our new logo? You like that logo? I think that logo's fire, bro.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
So here we go. We got 2 more quick, and then we're gonna get to who's the best player right now, and then Hall of Fame ineligibility. Victor, we got 13. He got everybody in the team. 31, 22.
Well, Tone, here's my problem. The 22 logic. And I understand why Shaq has him at 31. Shaq has him at 31 because I have him pretty low too. And Shaq has him at 31 because as a big man, there's still a lot of guys in the game that are better, but he's got a lot to prove. And Shaq is holding him to that big man standard, which he should. Right? He's holding him to that big man standard. So as of right now, that's where he sees him. Where Kenny sees him at 13. I mean, what did he do to be a top 15 player in the game today?
He didn't. I don't think. Well, because I think they're saying this year, this ranking
could he play himself into the top 15? Tone, I think that's a huge leap, man. I do.
I don't, because he's going to be the defensive player of the year and he's going to be top 5 in MVP voting. You got to keep him top 5.
If he's going to be top, if he's going to be top, if he's going to be that. In MVP voting, if he's going to be that, San Antonio is going to be a lot better, Tone.
Yeah, they're a playoff team.
If they're a playoff team
in the West, which you've said you got to win 50 games just to make the playoffs in the West, that's what they're going to be.
That means they got to win. They got to win close
to. They got 54 games.
That's Tone. That means that they got to win 30 plus more games.
30 more games. What? Yeah.
And if they win 54 games. They're a top 5 seed in the West.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, and if that's largely due to Vic, I don't see why he's not in the league MVP conversation. But I think that's a huge ask, Tone. I think that's a huge ask. I think that you're asking too much right now. We can have this conversation. Excuse me. We can have this conversation maybe in another year.
Right now.
No, Tone. I think we can have this conversation maybe in another year. But I don't think we did yet.
You remember those right guard commercials from the 80s? Anything less would be uncivilized.
And this right here is definitely uncivilized, Tone.
Doing it.
I'm trying to make sense.
For those that are asking, you know why I believe that?
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Which now we're talking. Now that makes sense. Now that definitely makes sense. I really think we're gonna see an unprecedented leap from the Spurs and from Vic this year. I don't know why. It's my gut. It can be wrong. I was right about that first year of Minnesota with Gobert and Cat. I've been right. I've been wrong about other things, but it's something I feel it in my heart that they're just going to be there. There's always that one team, right, that shocks the hell out of us, and I think it's that team.
I think it's that team.
I think it's Houston, actually.
We got, I know you believe it's Houston. I believe it's them. And Houston, listen, Houston isn't a bad pick either. Last one, this one has anywhere from 2 to 11.
This is tricky.
LeBron James.
And it's a perfect lead-in to our next conversation. So Kenny's got him at 2. Shaq's got him at 5. Chuck's got him at 11.
I got to agree with Chuck. I think he's closer to 11 than he is to 5. I think he's close at this point. I think he's closer to 11 than he is 5. And off the strength that who now remember, when I'm talking about James, and who am I comparing him to? I'm not comparing him to 2009 James. I'm not comparing him to 2013 James. I'm comparing him to James and Luka. I'm comparing him to James and Giannis. I'm comparing him to James and Joker. I'm comparing him to James and Joel Embiid and SGA and Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, Donovan Mitchell, guys like that. I'm comparing him to those guys. And when I'm comparing him to those guys, I think he's on the back end of the conversation. Guys like Anthony Davis. I think he's, if anyway, just like Donovan Mitchell, I have him anywhere between 8 and 11. I'm not going any lower with James than 11, but I'm not going any higher than 8. I can't see James as a top 5 player in today's game. Not with what I'm seeing in today's game.
I just, if I may put myself in a tight zoom, looking in the camera, LeBron James is the best basketball player in the world today. He is number 1.
Still, Tone. My goodness, man.
Number 1. And here's why. When you compare him not to himself, we're not talking about team, we're not talking about any, when you compare him to the other players, there is nothing that he does significantly worse, but there are a number of things that he does better. So people wanted to argue with me about his numbers, right? Because I brought this up in a chat on TikTok a couple of days ago, and they were like, like these other, and I said, hold on. So last year he had 25.7 points per game. That was good enough for 13th in the NBA. Out of those 13 that scored more than him, can you name me one player in that top 13 that shot a better percentage from 3 than he did?
He actually had a career year last year shooting the long ball.
He sure did.
That was his best season last year shooting the long ball. Better than in 13 when he shot 40% at the long ball line. So,
do you know anyone that was better than him?
And of those 13 guys?
Yeah. Luka, Giannis, SGA, Brunson, Durant, Booker, Tatum, Fox, Curry, Jokic, Maxey, Edwards.
None of them.
All right. Of those guys, field goal percentage. Now, again, we're not just going by numbers, but field goal percentage for a guy who shoots that many threes, he was top 4 in field goal percentage. Of those guys, only 2, 3, 4. 4 of those 13. So he was 5th in rebounds of those guys. He was 2nd, 3rd in assists. He was one of the top ones in steals. So that's the boring number stuff, right? So who are the people
which matters, by the way? Which matters, by the way?
It matters. And I don't want to bore everybody because we're also running out of time. Okay. So statistically, from the offensive end, he is still the one of, if not the best, well-rounded offensive players. He can still score. He's still an elite passer. He's still an elite playmaker. He still gets incredible gravity. He's shooting. Again, don't compare him to himself. Compare him to, he's the best 3-point shooter out of those top 15 scorers or top 13 scorers. So what does he do that's significantly worse offensively than the guys that we'll put in front of him, Luka and Jokic?
So if I'm thinking about Luka, so Luka, I think Luka scores it better than him. I think he's better in the mid range today than he was 3 or 4 years ago. I think he's better at getting downhill than James. James is still good getting downhill. Again, I'm not comparing James to James in 2008, 2009. I think Luka is better at getting downhill. I think he's better at the rim today than James is. I think Joker is better at
not statistically. Not statistically.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not better statistically. You're just saying based on your eye test.
Yes, just watching the game. All I'm doing is watching the game. And I think Joker is better all around. I think Joker's a better playmaker today. I think he's a better playmaker. I think he's a better.
Is it significant?
No, I think that I don't think it's this. No,
right.
I think
and I agree with you. And I agree with you. It's that. Okay.
I think that we're right around there.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, when it comes to the next kind of part of basketball, so like the intangible stuff, like the leadership, the basketball IQ, is there anyone? Is he second to anyone?
I still think he's the smartest player in the game. I don't think that there's a smarter player.
I agree with you. I think he's second to none. Athletically, even at 39 years old, are Luka or Jokic comparable to him athletically?
I don't think they are, but Giannis is a better athlete than him today.
Sure, yeah. We'll get to that. We'll get to him in a second.
So we're just dealing with Luka. We're just dealing with Luka, and we'll stay here.
I think Luka and Jokic are similar in the way that we would compare them, right? So athletically, he's better. Okay, so then defensively, I think because of the athleticism and because of the IQ, he's better athletically now, or better defensively. However, people will say he takes plays off. Absolutely. But if I need a stop or two, and I got to pick between Luka, Jokic,
and James,
and James, who am I picking if I need a stop or two?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he's better defensively than them, but I definitely won't say that they better defensively. Like, Luka is not a better defender than James. No, absolutely.
So when I impartially, because you know how I don't. James is not my GOAT. I'm not a big LeBron James fan. He's not, But when I look at it just impartially, and I don't compare him to what he was, I just compare him to these guys. I'm like, yeah, they've got a better offensive game, but not by much. But athletically, intangible, leadership, IQ, and like I said, defensively, it's so tough to judge defensively with, unless we're talking about elite defenders, because they don't really play the same style of defense, like most of them anymore. And so I look at, well, who can get me a stop when I need one? Who's smart enough to, get me a play on the defensive end? And so that's why I'm not saying it's Miles. I'm not saying he's.
Where's the separator though, Tone? When you talk about James and you talk about these two guys, where's the separator?
There isn't one. That's why I think it's so close, is that I don't think there's a separator, because I don't think any of them do anything significantly better. But I'm going to go with the guy that can do all the things they can do offensively, even though it's not as good, but is a smarter, more athletic version. Right? Like, there's no pass that Jokic makes that LeBron
James can't. Even today. Even today. But I still think that James, I still think that Joker is better at that today.
Because I'm not saying he's not.
And the reason why is because I feel like James, it's not that he can't read it. I think that his ability to react like he did.
But I also believe, I believe it's more the system that they play in. I think if you asked LeBron to be the main distributor on the Nuggets team, passing to Murray and Gordon and Porter, I think he'd average 10 assists a game. Easy.
No, Tony, it's different because that offense would have to change. The reason why that offense would have to change, because now you're making James the primary ball handler. With Jamal Murray is the primary ball handler. The offense runs through Joker. You would have to now run the offense through James, where James is not that. He's not that proficient in that.
He facilitates the offense from the top of the key, though.
James does, right, and
so does Jokic most of the time. Although he does go down in the post.
I think Joker's a little bit,
because you're comparing a center.
I think Joker's a little bit. I think he's a little different in the aspect that Joker, the way that they run that offense, it just looks so much more fluid because they run a lot of action off of him, And Joker could get himself to the basket with the best of them. I won't argue that, right? Joker could get himself to the basket with the best of them. In addition to getting himself to the basket with the best of them, he could also, Jesus Christ, Jason Tatum went for 37 and 10 tonight. Anyway, he went almost 40 and 10 tonight. Anyway, the fact
did he average 40 and 10 for the season?
Oh my goodness. I don't think so. I don't think we're going to do that. But, and he didn't play in the fourth quarter neither, by the way, Tone. But anyway,
man,
the way that
I thought the Knicks would make it a game. Okay, they did not.
No, they did not. No, they did.
When I'm right, like I should just stick to myself. When I'm right, I'm right. They stink. Okay. So who else do you want to? Again, just for time's sake.
Yep. Who
else do we put? Okay, you're gonna put Giannis. So Giannis is the flip of those guys, where he is a better defender. He is more athletic, right? But
player.
Yeah, but when it comes to an overall offensive game,
better in the paint,
that's James.
Better around the rim. James is a better distributor, but
and if you can believe it, James is playing more games than he is nowadays.
Yes,
Giannis struggling with some health issues.
That's a factor. I won't argue that, Tone. That's definitely a factor. That's something that we gotta.
And for everybody calling me crazy, just remember, we're saying for this season, we're saying I believe he's also going to be much more motivated. I think Bronny's going to have the effect that Thanasis had on Giannis that first year. He's going to be his cheerleader.
Which is going to be an issue too, because Thanasis tore his Achilles, so he's not going to be there.
Well, no, I meant, that's why I said.
But I know what you're talking about. I 100% know what you're talking about. So with that being said, back to the game. I think Giannis is a better transition player. He's a better defender. Yeah. James is a significantly better passer, significantly better than Giannis. I won't argue that. Giannis is a better rebounder. Giannis is a better defender. I think he's a better on-ball defender. I think he's a better screen navigator. I think he competes more on the defensive end. I think he's a better rim protector than James. I'd have to give the edge to Giannis. If I'm thinking about a player overall today, I'd have to give the edge to Giannis.
I believe that you have a better case for Giannis being over him than Jokic and Luka.
I don't think so, though, Tone.
Who else do you have? Only for time.
Jason Tatum. I think he's better than James today. I'm not big on this SGA thing, but for the same logic,
but I don't. Yeah,
I'm not a huge SGA guy, but I love SGA's game. But I could understand why he would be ahead of him. Joel Embiid. I don't think James is better than Joel Embiid today, considering. Let's see. I don't ever think, and this may be a hot take for some people, I don't think Curry was ever better than James at any point in his career. I don't ever think even today, I'm having a difficult time putting Steph Curry ahead of James. Even today, I don't think at any point in his career was he ever better than James, ever.
Not holistically. No, I would agree.
I don't ever think that there was a point where he was better than him at any point in his career, ever.
All right. We're not going to agree on this. However, so you have Jokic 1?
I got Jokic 1. I got Giannis 2. I got Luka 3. I got Tatum 4. I got SGA 5. I got Joel Embiid 6. I got Anthony Davis 7. I got James 8. I got Curry 9. I got KD 10 and Donovan Mitchell at 11.
I'm gonna skip telling you about a new article that's coming out. I'll do it next week because we are limited on time. I'm going to go straight to transition to our Hall of Fame ineligibility. And then we're going to all go watch Bronny James start for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Gentlemen.
Do you see the Rim Runner? That was just for you, that one. That is just for you, Rim Runner. Go check out the merch, fluent.brandify.me. Go buy yourself a Chilltown Hoop shirt because they're fire. and the Fluent Chill shirt. Yeah. These 5 Hall of Fame eligibility and their projected chances. So you've got LaMarcus Aldridge, 50.9%, not a Hall of Famer. You've got Blake Griffin, 54.8%, not a Hall of Famer. You've got, I'm taking Iguodala at 12.7, not a Hall of Famer. Well, I believe him and Cedric Maxwell will officially now be the only 2 Finals MVP players not to be in the Hall of Fame. John Wall, 32.4%, not a Hall of Famer, and Rajon Rondo, 60.6% chance of making a Hall of Fame. He is not a Hall of Famer, and Carmelo Anthony has a 98.4% chance of making the Hall of Fame, and if you took out Syracuse, he's not a Hall of Famer. Your thoughts? Not one of these players should be in the professional basketball Hall of Fame. Now, I understand that this is not what we're. I understand that this is not what we're voting for. I understand.
So, really quickly, Tone. Hall of Fame. What am I famous for? What is Carmelo Anthony famous for, Tone?
Being a black hole on offense.
And him being a black hole on offense, he was a bucket getter. He's famous for that. I don't know if you can name definitively. I don't know if you can name 10 scorers in NBA history better than him. Definitively. I'm confident you can't name 15 scorers in the game definitively better than him. I don't think you can do that. That's what he's famous for, right? So because he's famous for that, that alone is going to get him into the Hall of Fame. And when you talk about a guy who averaged 24 games for his career, that's more than Tracy McGrady, who was a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Who shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame?
And the fact that Carmelo Anthony did it for as long as he did it, I believe that he's in the top 15. No, he just passed Shaq. So I think he's in the top 10 all time in the history of the game in scoring. But if Dominique Wilkins, who there were only 7 guys in the history of the NBA who had scored more points than him when he retired, if he had to wait and be a second ballot Hall of Famer, so does Carmelo Anthony. I got no problem with that. Now, as far as what is LaMarcus Aldridge famous for? That's what I'm concerned with. When I think about LaMarcus Aldridge.
Let's start at the bottom. 12 point Iguodala. Mm-hmm. Is he a Hall of Famer?
No.
Okay.
I don't think
John Wall.
So John Wall, if he's going to be in the Hall of Fame, it's going to be a while because it took Dennis Johnson like 15 years to get into the Hall of Fame. It took Tim Hardaway almost 20 years to get into the Hall of Fame.
What changed?
Nothing changed with his numbers. Nothing. Still the same thing.
If you're not in first, second, third, what changed in your stats in your game that gets you in the Hall of Fame? That's the part that drives me nuts.
Nothing. Nothing changed. So because nothing changed, if you don't get in round one, does that now mean that the people that you're going into the Hall of Fame that you're up against, maybe that is what changed? Okay, you might not have been better than this class that's coming up, right? You might not have been better than this class, but you're probably better than this next class.
Right. That just means the competition got worse to get in, which is horrible. Yeah. I want to get back to the Hall of Fame discussion in 1 second because we do. I completely missed that we had a couple of super chats. Mm-hmm. So context clues. Off topic. NFL recap Sunday and Monday. Also chill. I hope your 49ers get healthy. Yeah. And where do you guys think Cooper Kupp is going to end at?
It's incredible how we was talking about Cooper Kupp like just less than 2 years ago. Like he might be the best wide receiver in the game, and now they talking about moving off.
At the time for that season, he was the best wide receiver that season. But, it was the same thing early in his career: injuries, and now injuries. And so
I think we lose Christian McCaffrey for the season. I think last season was a one-off. Yeah. I think we got lucky last year. He was always beat up when he was in Carolina. He was always injured down there. And then we got him last year, and we got lucky, right? We got lucky that he didn't get hurt last season. And then now here we are with the calf issue. I think he's out for the season. I don't think he's out for. I think he's done for the season. Ayuk is out for the season also.
Ayuk is out for the season. Yeah,
So
I think he got
hurt. So he's out. We had 2 wide receivers who had 15 snaps between the both of them. Between the both of them, we had 15 snaps. Tone, Patrick Mahomes not just going to keep giving us the ball. Our offense had to capitalize on that, and they didn't. They did not. And I think that was the difference in the game. Your quarterback was better than my quarterback. That was the difference in that game.
I could see I can't believe I'm going to say this as a Bears fan who were 5-2, but I think that's a lot of smoke and mirrors. I think the Detroit Lions might be going to the Super Bowl this year.
Oh, Tone, you say that like, chill.
It hurts me.
Might be in the from your division, from the NFC North, you might have to see the Detroit Lions in the bowl game.
The NFC North is the best division in football right now.
I don't think it's close, to be honest with you. When I think about the rest of the divisions in football, I don't think it's close.
The Lions have 1 loss. The Vikings have 1 loss to the Lions. Green Bay, I believe, is 5-2, or 6-2, 5-2, and the Bears are 5-2.
And Jordan Love looked like an all-pro quarterback. The whole division might make the playoffs.
I hate Green Bay. I
know how you feel about them.
Quarterback.
Jordan Love might be an all-pro this year, Tone. And I know that you don't want to hear that. But yes.
So again, shout out. The recap is shout out to my guy Chris Godwin. And I hate this. I think we're see the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again.
Yeah,
I think it's Chiefs and Lions.
I don't know. Hey Hanzo, get your ass out of my chat. Hanzo, get out of my chat. Beat it, you goofy. Do not get in my chat. Get your ass out of here. All you do when you're around your cronies, when I'm on the panel, is you talk shit about Jason Tatum. Now all of a sudden you come in there. I know Chill on Cloud 9. Get your ass out of my chat. Beat it, you goofy. Get your ass out of here.
Unless you send a super chat like Mello Williams. Randall or Lauri Markkanen as a player right now?
Julius Randle.
I'm taking Randall too, but I really like Lauri Markkanen. What can you believe? Can you believe Draymond Green? Is he the GM? How does he know that they were trying to get Lauri Markkanen and I'm going to draw a blank. Paul George. Yeah, and Paul George on the Warriors.
Well, they do consult these guys despite the nonsense. You know, they do that. They do consult these guys with with trades. Steph's the guy who, Steph is the guy who they run things by the most. But I to be honest with you, do I blame Draymond? I mean, I understand we breaking up the band, even though it's necessary to break the band up. But do I blame him? No, not really. I don't.
Listen, next week, because we're out of time, because you got to go do the Lakers and Timberwolves game. Next week, I'm going to show you the DMs from Tony Durant, Kevin's brother, telling me that the Warriors begged him to come and begged him not to leave.
I'm sure they did.
So here's my thing. I will leave it. I'll say my last word. You say your last word. LeBron James is the best player in basketball right now. Why?
Wait, hold on, Toe. Say it slow so people can hear you.
LeBron
He's the best player in basketball right now. I get that it's everything they've done in their basketball world. So Carmelo being at 98.4% based on his Olympics, his season at Syracuse, and his offensive skills in the NBA will put him as a first ballot Hall of Famer. And based on those criteria, it's deserved. However, when we have this conversation, I keep telling you, if this was just professional basketball, so it didn't include the Olympics, didn't include, right, which it should be. We should have a professional basketball Hall of Fame. Sure. I don't think Carmelo Anthony's in based on my criteria. And again, my criteria is tough. My criteria, which is this. You have to be in the NBA. Then you have to be an all-star, which makes you a star, which is like all NBA type.
Not one
player.
time, neither, Tone. Not
one time, but consistently all NBA talent player. So star, all-star, stars, all NBA, excuse me. Then you become a superstar, which means you're a leader of a team that's a title contender. He's never done that. And once you've consistently been a superstar, your reward when you retire is the Hall of Fame. So by that criteria, none of these 6 guys meet that criteria. Right? So
in 09, were they a title contender, Tone? When they lost
even if they were, that was one time. Even if they were, that's one time.
So I got to do it multiple times.
Right? Like yeah. No, and again, you don't have to take them to the finals, but you need to be like, they need to be like, you're the best player on this team. You're an all NBA performer or all defensive performer consistently, right? You're always an all-star. You're all NBA, all defensive, all NBA or all defensive or both multiple times. The leader of the team, and this team is a title contender. Look, things happen, whatever.
I don't love the fact, Tone, that he was never a first team All-Pro. I don't love that. I do have an issue with that. I won't argue that.
Right, like you got guys. I don't know who this is, but Melo was a superstar. Please stop. No, he wasn't. Again, based on what? Based on what?
His ability to score the basketball, Tone. He was arguably the best scorer in the game at one point.
Okay, he was a superstar scorer. I agree. He was
like Kevin Durant, just like Kevin Durant at one point.
Kevin Durant. The difference is Kevin Durant was a consistent all-NBA player, what led a team not only to the finals, but also they were in contention to the finals. Then then joined the bomb squad and won a couple. Right. But he did it on his own team. And I tell you, with even Durant, I go, eh. So if I'm with Durant and I'm telling you,
so you already made it clear Durant is not a superstar. You told me that.
Durant's not. Yeah, he was not. He was not at the time. He was not a superstar.
Right.
But we fall in love with this offensive game. It's not. So unfortunately, we're out of time. Go to playback. We'll continue this conversation because it's a good one. But go to playback. Check out Player's Choice. Go check out Chill doing the Lakers and Minnesota game. I'm gonna go watch the Lakers and Minnesota game right now. But until then,
we will see you guys soon. Thanks for joining us. You know where to find us every Tuesday night. Me and my man Tony Tone. We do this every Tuesday night. We will see you soon. But until then, put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother. When last time you talked to your mother? Call your mother. We'll talk to you soon. But until then, take it light, but take it. Put on a suit, drink water, don't drink and drive. Hey man, call your mother.
It means nothing. It means nothing.
Nah, they lying to you. It's about the money.
Now you're more fluent.